in a very important development. A big international news is breaking. Taliban leaders are meeting the top leaders of the Chinese government in Beijing. The Taliban leadership panel, which constitutes of more than 15 to 20 people, met the Chinese leadership, including the foreign minister of China in Beijing. And if you look at the pictures, it's like China has broken its hesitancy on this issue. I'm joined by my colleague and foreign affairs expert, Vishnu Shankar. These pictures tell a story, more than 1,000 words. Vishnu, my question to you is that China was the first country in 1996 to acknowledge Taliban officially after Pakistan. Can I say that China has actually done away with its hesitancy when it comes to Taliban?
Yes, Karthikeya, China did away with its hesitancy on Afghanistan and Taliban a long time ago. There's a clear linkage being built up now between Pakistan and China and Turkey, who are working to a plan in Afghanistan to ensure that their interests are protected.
You know, but China is slightly different. You know, Americans like to go for regime change, but the Chinese foreign policy and the Chinese security policy is married to the idea of taking over a land, you know. So the dominance flows from the management of the assets, infrastructure and land, unlike Americans who want to export the liberal democracies, which in turn break many states from Syria to Algeria to Egypt. Now, the question is, Vishnu, that with this, do you think that the China will provide boots on the ground in absence of America, or will they go in for sort of a silent role, money, infrastructure and Belt and Road?
Well, China is really worried about its investments in Afghanistan, Pakistan occupied Kashmir, Gilgit and Baltistan, and in Pakistan. So they are very keen that they can ensure that their interests, their assets are protected. And for that, if required, in a peacekeeping role, they would not hesitate to put boots on the ground. They have actually mooted this point in talks with Russia and America also, that they would be keen to do that. Apart from Turkey, China is the only other country who are ready to put boots on the ground at this moment, after the withdrawal of NATO and US forces.
You know, Vishnu, can you just elaborate on this point? Because when we talk about China, you know, our understanding is through Belt and Road project, or our understanding is through the sort of the fight with China goes with America on the Spratly Islands in South China Sea, or China versus America in context of the Quad. But in specific context to Afghanistan, when I interviewed the ambassador here, he said that the China can play a very important, a positive role in Afghanistan. How do you see the comments of the Afghanistan's ambassador to India to say that the China must play a positive and important role? How do you define that, the word positive, and how do you define the word important?
Well, China, the present government, elected government in Afghanistan must take China on side. It is very important because it is, whether we like it or not, a major player in Afghanistan. Their primary concern is that their Xinjiang province shouldn't be impacted by Taliban's access to almost all of Afghanistan. They already control about 50% of the area, land area, and they are moving ominously towards the borders which touch Xinjiang province, where the Uyghurs are actually being meted out a very, very shabby treatment by the Chinese. And Eastern Turkestan Islamic movement is fighting for an independent Uyghur state. China wants to make sure, wants assurances from Pakistan that they will make sure that ETIM cannot play a role in Xinjiang. That's the first thing. The other thing is to the north of India, in along the Karakoram highway and the Karakoram mountains, China has made a lot of investments through CPEC, China-Pakistan Economic Corridor. And these are huge investments. And if these were to come under attack from terrorists or any other elements that actually destroy Chinese assets, they will be very worried. So they are actually working to a plan to insulate all of this area from any kind of disruptions.
The last two questions, in terms of global perspective, you know, if you look at the American influence, it seems to be receding. You know, America is going to exit from Iraq. The statement has come from the US president. America has no influence in Tehran. The influence is contested in Syria. Influence is contested in Lebanon. Influences, you know, they have vacated Afghanistan. So my question to you, Vishnu, is can there be a Central Asian Quad to stabilize Afghanistan in a way that despite lack of American presence, you know, Afghanistan remains a stable revolving door of Central Asia?
Well, the work is already on in this regard. America has been talking to the Central Asian republics, all of them, the 5 or 6 republics, to build a consensus that they will not let the fighting in Afghanistan spill over to the Central Asian republics. They are really worried because the brand of Islam that Taliban propagates is anathema to these republics. They are, well, not really moderate, but certainly not fundamentalist Islamists. So they are worried that if Taliban's influence were to spill over beyond Afghanistan's border, there could be violence and chaos in their republic. So there is a plan already where the US and these Central Asian republics will work together to ensure that Taliban's movement does not spill over to their side of the border.
Isn't it ironical that when Doha talks happened, you know, China had a very side role with Taliban, and look at the long journey. You don't have Americans in this photograph. You know, you have Chinese foreign ministers talking to Taliban. So can I say that the journey of Doha has concluded in Beijing?
It looks like that. Wang Yi met them earlier today. The meeting was held in Tianjin, the northern city of China. Nothing has been said either by the Chinese or Taliban about what transpired at the meeting, but the photograph tells its own story. I think they are a happy lot at the moment, and this really shows that China is gradually occupying the driving seat in the process, the political process in Afghanistan.
So can I say, can we say in the conclusion part of this digital telecast that China is gaining a footstep in the Central Asian politics, you know, with American hegemony waning away from the coast of Mediterranean to Afghanistan? China is stepping in from Afghanistan to Tehran to Baghdad to Damascus. You know, the American presence has been completely denuded now. Can we say that the China will be stepping in those shoes?
Well, excuse me. During Donald Trump's presidency, this happened. And what is happening right now is a continuation of that policy. I'm not sure the US will be very happy with the state of its involvement in either Central Asia or South Asia, and they would want to make amends to that. Anthony Blinken's trip to India is perhaps an attempt towards that, how to take that movement forward. And in that context, the talks that happen between India and the US delegation will be very important. We need to watch that very, very carefully.
Thank you, Vishwa. I think it's a very important development that the Blinken is visiting he'll be meeting Indian Prime Minister. He'll be having talks with Indian Foreign Minister. There'll be a joint press conference, and there'll be closed door meetings, and that too in context of Afghanistan. There are a number of other meetings which will be held, but Afghanistan is definitely on the table. And this meeting is being held in Beijing, where the Taliban had a long meeting with the Chinese Foreign Minister, and I think that this somehow goes on to show that how in geopolitics nothing is static, and there is no political vacuum when it comes to geopolitical reality. So this is all in this edition of TV9 Digital on foreign policy. For more, keep on watching TV9.